Hi guys, welcome to Anewyoricanthing kitchen. Today is very exciting. I'm going to teach you guys how to make a full meal today. Yes, and this is one of my favorite meals. My grandmother used to make this for me every time I came to visit her. But today we're going to have a twist. I'm going to make rice with corn in a rice cooker, which is really awesome. So before you judge me, trust me, this is going to be really awesome and it's going to taste delicious. I promise you. And we have pork chops, some chuletas. We're gonna fry that up. And we're gonna start with the chuletas, the pork chops first, okay? This is how we season it. If you do not have your homemade adobo, this is what you can do at home. So we have black pepper, okay? We're gonna do half a teaspoon of some black pepper. Okay, just put that in your little thing there. And you're gonna do a teaspoon of onion powder. Okay, level that off. Teaspoon of garlic powder. Okay, and we're going to do a teaspoon of salt. Now this is to taste, obviously, so if this is not enough seasoning, you can definitely add more salt to your liking or more pepper, however you would like it. And you're going to add some oil. So this would be the homemade adobo. And I'm gonna add a little bit of oil, just enough to cover it. And the other trick is you add a splash of vinegar, white vinegar. So just literally a splash, guys, okay? I'm gonna use, and make sure you wash your pork chops. Now I use the thin pork chops, although one of them in there is kind of fat, but you can use I like the thin ones the best. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna pour this into your pork chops, okay? Get all that goodness out. Pick up the pork chop, get it in there. Okay, and you're gonna mix your pork chops. Get all that seasoning in there. And believe me, it doesn't look like it's enough seasoning, but it really is. It's gonna, make sure you coat them all. And it is going to be enough seasoning. It doesn't look like it's much, but it will be. Okay, make sure I get all that good stuff in there. All right, so I'm gonna let that sit for a minute while we work on the rice, and then we'll throw the pork chops in the fryer, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, guys, so when you're using the rice cooker, you wanna use the white rice function, okay? So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna put 2 tablespoons of oil, okay? Vegetable oil, cooking oil, do not use olive oil. It just gives it a different flavor in my opinion. I'm going to add my sofrito. Okay, if you do not have homemade sofrito, you can do onions, 2 onions, 2 peppers, cilantro, and if you can find ajicitos, put it in there. They're like the cousin to the habanero, or culantro. If you can find those things, put it in there. Even if you can't find it and just have the onions, the peppers, and cilantro, it's better than the store-bought stuff, okay? It just is. And then we have sazon, which you can make your own, as you've seen my video for that. So I'm gonna add 2 packets. And like I said, I'm gonna make my favorite, which is rice with corn. So you can use canned corn if you'd like. Okay, not the cream corn, just the regular kerneled corn. Or you can use frozen corn. Okay, I'm using frozen. Either one will taste fine. And just throw in a few olives. Now some people, including my grandmother, actually used to put tomato sauce when she made the rice with corn, which you can do. I'm only making 3 cups of rice because I have a small rice cooker. But you can add tomato sauce, and it's just a splash. It's not a lot. It's just gonna make your rice a little sweeter. So I prefer it without the tomato sauce, so I'm using without tomato sauce. But that's up to you. So when you have it on the white rice function with the lid up, your sofrito is going to cook, okay? So we're just gonna wait for that to sizzle, and then we add the rice and water. Okay, so as the sofrito's cooking in my rice cooker, I'm gonna start my pork chops. I already started preheating my pan. Now, the beautiful thing about pork chops, you do not need to add any more oil to this pan, okay? the oil that's in the pork chops that we use to season really is sufficient. You don't need to add any more. You want to cook the pork chops on a medium heat. I have an electric stove, so you're going to use your medium heat setting, okay? And if you have any excess seasoning or oil in here, you're going to put it in here. The great thing about the pork chops is that it does create its own water. So you do not need to add any oil to it, which is good. It's a little bit healthier. We're not straight up frying it in oil. So you're going to just put this on a medium heat, keep it covered, and let that cook. In the meantime, let's check our rice and see if that's ready. So as you can see in the rice cooker, the sofrito is cooking down. Okay, so we are ready to add our rice. So I'm making 3 cups of rice today. So we have 3 cups. Now, when you have your rice cooker, you want to use the measuring cup that the rice cooker comes with, because it is a little bit different measurements. So you're going to add your can of corn, or if you have frozen corn, however much corn you'd like. And of course, you can make more, you know, make a bigger pot. And you're going to go in your rice pot up to the 3 cup mark, which actually when I use the rice cooker, I go over it a little bit. When I'm doing rice and beans or rice and corn, I put a little bit more water than they suggest, which they say 3 cups. I always go a little bit higher. Okay, we go over the 3 cup mark. There's like usually like a little line. So you want to do that. You want to mix all your seasonings together, the sofritos down at the bottom, just like you would do in your regular traditional rice pot, okay? And then let's not forget, we need to add salt. So again, salt is to your liking. I use kosher salt. It's just what I prefer. It tends to be a little saltier, so you have to be careful, okay? And you want to taste your rice to make sure that you have enough salt content. Wow, guys, I nailed it at the first try. Okay, so you're just going to cover this and let it do its thing. I usually uncover it and mix it just like a regular rice pot after 15 minutes or so that this is cooking in the rice pot. Okay, so let the rice pot do its thing. Okay, so while everything is cooking, we're gonna work on some tostones, guys. So how do you cut the plantain? I get that question a lot. So you're gonna cut it on an angle, okay? And you're gonna score it all the way down. Now you don't wanna go too deep because then you'll break it. You'll break the plantain. You just wanna score it enough to get through the skin, okay? And then what I do is I use my knife to kind of give me leverage to open that up. May come out full or it may not, and that's okay. The other thing for tostones is you have to have a tostoneria, which is a plantain squasher, really. If you don't have one, my grandmother used to use a paper bag and with a glass, actually with her hand, and she would just smash it down, which is crazy. But you can use a cup, which I've done, a glass to kind of squash it if you don't have that. These are really inexpensive. You can get them online, Spanish store, any place like that. It's great to have. Okay, so you see how I'm just peeling it? I didn't go all the way through, so, because if you go too deep, you may break the plátano, and we don't want that. We want to keep it whole without breaking, because we want to make tostones out of it. So you're just gonna peel that skin off. It's a little work, but it's okay. Okay, now, you wanna use an angle. That's how you can go straight or you can use an angle. That's up to you. I usually cut it on an angle. So you see how thick that is. Actually, that should be a little thicker. So we wanna go like this, okay? Because they have to fry and you wanna squash them, okay? So we got that, okay? Then we're gonna put this in a frying pan and brown it, because they also are double fried. Okay, so let's get to that. So make sure when you're gonna fry your plantains that the oil is hot. I already started it. You're gonna put that on a medium heat. You don't wanna put it on high, because the tostón, it has to cook on the inside so that you'll be able to squash it. All right, so it's gonna get a little soft. That actually could have been a little bit hotter, but it's okay, it's sizzling. So you're gonna put your tostones in there. And you're not fully cooking them. They should be soft. so that you're able to squash them and then, because you're going to refry them. All right, so you don't want to make this really brown or anything. It should just be a light brown so that you can squash and then refry and brown it the way you'd like. Now these pork chops are cooking very nicely. So do you see how we have liquid in here? So there's no need for you to add any extra oil, okay? And you're just gonna turn them when they're nice and brown. I happen to like it really crunchy, but we're gonna turn it around so it could cook on the other side. And if you wanted to make it a little bit crunchier, like I like it very well cooked, you can just, you know, keep frying it until the brownness or the doneness is to your liking. And what I do is I cover it, let the other side cook, and then I uncover it so it can brown a little bit more. And you could raise the heat if you'd like, but make sure that your fork is completely cooked. These are about ready to be turned. So you see how it's a little golden brown, but it's not very done yet, because that gets done on the second time you fry them. So basically you just want to cook them to soften them up. And then you have, you know, it should squash nicely and not stick to your tostaneria, because that's not fun. So you just want to cook it on the other side in the same way. Okay, how you know it's done is we push the fork down the middle. Okay, so we'll test that when the other side is cooking. Okay, I'm gonna check on my pork chops. This is good, guys. Oh my God. All right, let's turn it again. See how that is? I love that. So you just want to cook it to how you like it. I mean, you may like your pork chop like that. It's definitely ready, so you can definitely eat it that way. Or you can have it a little bit more crunchy. I prefer crunchy, so I'm just gonna let that fry a little bit more, okay? So the trick is you wanna put your fork and it should go right through. See how that's working? It's going right through. So this one looks ready. This one looks like a little bit longer. So it should go right through, and then you know it's ready to take out and squash, okay? So, ooh, actually these all look pretty much done. Yes, they do. So let's go ahead and take one out and test the waters. So this is the one I first tested. Okay, you're gonna put it in the middle of your tostaneria, and this little gadget is going to squash it for you. See that? Now you can go thinner, you can make them thicker. It depends on how much pressure you're gonna put on that. Okay, this is the way I like them. Now when you're making tostones, you wanna make this right before you want to refry it the second time when everything else is ready. They should be eaten right away, because if not, they get very spongy. So you don't want that. You want it to taste good. So I'm just going to go ahead and squash all of these. So you must squash them though. Even if you're not going to fry them now, you must squash them, because if you don't, then you're not going to be able to squash them. I don't know what happens to them, but something funky happens. So I'm gonna go ahead and squash all of these, and I'm gonna wait for my pork chops to be ready so that I can refry it again. But I'm gonna make sure I squash all of them. And while the pork chops is still cooking and we squash all of these tostones, I'm gonna show you how to make mojo, because you can't have tostones without mojo. Mojo is everything. A little mojito on your tostones. What? Okay guys, I am in my rice cooker and I'm just mixing it up, because I want to make sure my sofrito is all mixed up, because when in the rice cooker it just kind of sits there, so you want to mix it. Okay, it's still cooking, it's not ready, so just mix it a little bit, close it and forget it until it beeps when it's done. So while everything is still cooking, our rice is still cooking, pork chops is still going, we squashed out those tostones. In the meantime, we can make mojo. So I have a little pilon, okay, and I have 3 cloves of garlic, and what you do is you're going to sprinkle some salt. Okay, now mojo is like, really, you want to taste it, and you may have to add more salt, you may have to add more olive oil or regular oil. So basically what I do is I just squish it. Now if you have like a Ninja or a little blender and you feel like, you know, pulling it out, or maybe you have like those little ones, you can. And just throw it in the blender. Just bear in mind, when you throw it in the blender, you're not going to have chunks of garlic. It's going to be much more blended. So what you want to do is just kind of mush up that garlic with the salt. Okay. Mojo is a very simple thing to do, but you just have to go slowly because you can add too much oil or too much vinegar. It's a kind of temperamental thing. So I'm just gonna squish it up because I do like, when I have mojo, that there are chunks of garlic, and it's also really good on your pork chop or your rice. So it's just nice. So I'm gonna add some oil, and now I just use vegetable oil. Some people like olive oil, which you can. I would use a mild olive oil. Okay, so I'm just gonna mush that together. You may need to add more salt. Okay, and then vinegar is just a splash. Okay. I can tell already that I probably need more salt, but I'm gonna taste it and see what it tastes like. Oh, actually, it's pretty good. A little bit more salt, and I think we're done here. And that's gonna be amazing, and you just wanna put that in there. We have enough oil, we have enough vinegar, because it shouldn't be overpowering. You're really gonna taste more of the garlic. Is gonna shine through because you've smashed it. So you're gonna get that flavor of the garlic. Okay, so we are ready for our mojo. Our dinner is almost complete, guys. So these pork chops are all ready, guys. I'm calling this one, that's mine. My son can't have that one. Okay, guys, moment of truth. Look at that. It's ready. That's exciting. Okay, so this is ready. Plantains, because we're about to eat. So we wanna do that second fry. Okay, you wanna make sure your oil is nice and hot, because you don't want your, I didn't wait long enough. You want your tostones not to absorb that much oil. So you wanna make it hot. Now you wanna make sure that your temperature's on medium heat. You don't want to go too high because you're just going to burn them. Because at this point, they are cooking on the inside. Okay, we got them soft, but now we're going to cook them all the way through. Okay, just put them in there. Don't overcrowd them. I have a little pan, so you may, we'll have to do 2 sets of that. But you just want to fry that until it is golden brown. Okay, guys, this is dinner. We have our pork chop, arroz con maíz, tostones, little avocado, never hurt anybody. So this is it, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys keep on cooking and keep on watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow. Thank you.